look at me. Tell me, what can I do?
I've seen 8,343 sunsets in my lifetime. There's Earth, and that's me.
Hello, I'm Elise Chaffins, and I'm joined today by Mahesh Pailoor and Kapil Talwalkar to discuss the new film Paper Flowers, coming to theaters on August 21st. Thank you both so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Elise. I love your glasses. Such a fun,
thank you.
fun frame.
Yay. Mahesh, can you give us a brief synopsis of what Paper Flowers is about?
Yeah, of course. So Paper Flowers is a narrative feature, but it's based on a true story of a young man, Shalin Shah, who was diagnosed with terminal cancer at a young age of 22. But it's about the journey of how he transformed that experience into something that was hopeful and transformational for the people around him. And it's also based on an article that he wrote, which is called Thank You Cancer, which was a sort of a viral essay that happened in the Huffington Post in the last sort of months of his life. And it really is about him sharing a message of not taking anything for granted and making sure that everyone lives life to the fullest. And so this movie is about that experience and what he went through and how he changed the people around him and made them appreciate life.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful story. Yeah. Kapil, can you talk a little bit about preparing for this role? I imagine it's like a fairly emotionally challenging one to do.
Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can. I think, this is a role that Mahesh and I created together in every way because, with the challenges of an indie, we're filming at one location at a time. And oftentimes in that location, my character, Shalin, is going through different stages of his illness where, he's totally healthy and, in the middle of it, and then maybe a little bit later on. And we're all sometimes filming it all in the same day.
Wow.
So being able to sort of keep track of all that and being able to really hone in with expert precision, the emotional depth, the physicality, the symptoms and headspace, all that stuff needs to really be dialed in because we're on such a timeline. And so Mahesh and I, it was really like a effort together to make sure that it worked throughout the course of filming. And so I totally leaned on him to help make sure that what I was doing was working and my prep was working as well. So that's what I.
Excellent. There's one scene right after Shalin receives his terminal diagnosis, and everything is just silent. The score, everything. Can you talk about your decision to use silence in that moment? Because it's just a really powerful experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, and this is a credit to Kapil and the other actors in the room because it's such a powerful scene. And sometimes with movies, as like there's so many things that we do as filmmakers where we have camera movement, music, all these kinds of things to help with an emotion. But at the end of the day, if the emotion is there in the scene and with the actors and it feels real, you don't have to do anything. And that's the wonderful thing. I mean, on set when we were filming the scene, I mean, it was so quiet. It felt so palpable. And I still remember this now. And Couple was just absolutely amazing. And you just really felt the gravity of what he was going through. And so, yeah, there was never, I think from that, when we were filming, I was like, oh, there's not gonna be any music. This is really about these guys in this moment and experiencing it. And if anything, we just use the ambient sound in the room to kind of heighten the feeling of the sterility of where they were and what the gravity of what they were going through.
Yeah. So in the filming of this, were you able to work with any of Shalin's family, with Fiona? Can you just speak to their involvement with this?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off in a couple. You can maybe talk about Francis too. But yeah, I mean, so this story is based on a true story, and our producer, CPS, he is actually related to Shalin.
Okay.
And so he started the project. He wrote the script with there was a screenwriter that first came involved. They did a ton of research working with the family and their involvement to sort of craft the story. Then once I came involved, I kind of as the filmmaker, I'm now responsible for the story, and so I kind of took it from there. And we did have the involvement of the family to kind of along the way, but there was also an important element for me where I wanted to keep a little bit of distance from that too, so that we could tell the story and not have to worry about this isn't exactly right or this isn't exactly right. So that's sort of like how we did it. But we had their support all along, and I think in the end they were so happy. And also Frances, who the character Fiona is based on, she was very involved. And I think a couple of you guys had a conversation prior to filming, which I think was like really helpful.
Yes. So Frances Chen, who the character of Fiona is based on, she was very kind to give us a few interviews. Olivia, who plays her character, we sat down on Zoom, just like this, and we asked her, just questions about their relationship together, her relationship with Shalin's family, and obviously it was really helpful for Olivia because she got to meet, a person that she's playing, or at least, inspired by. Um, and it was helpful for me because I was getting a fuller picture of the man that I was playing from not just people that, are his loved ones, like through his family, but someone who he was in love with and shared a life with. Yeah, it was great. It was one of those things that was so invaluable, and I can't thank her enough for being able to sit down with us and do that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Just as we kind of wrap up, I always like to ask people, what did you learn from working on this project that you'd like to take with you into a future project, whether a technical thing or an emotional experience or something that you'd want to replicate? Just, yeah.
I think to Shalin says in this film, "I want to live," um, and I think it's a beautiful quote, and it's one of my favorites, and I think it reminds me to put away my phone more, lose myself in the world. Um, One of the greatest things that this story has taught me was instead of doing work on the story as an actor, let the story do work on me. Um, and having like read it many times and having done sort of the research on it, the story was doing its work on me. And I think as an artist, ultimately, that to me is kind of the North Star now of my future things of like instead of being like something I need to crack, sometimes it's just reading something over and over again or just allowing myself to research into something enough that the story just does its work on me and my imagination starts to come along into my life.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think I mean like couple similarly I think for me the message of the movie had a big impact on me because the movie's about being present, and for me I think it's a great reminder of that, but it was also really helpful just in terms of the process of making the movie. And as a director, that's what we do. We just have to be present and kind of respond in the moment for what's happening in front of us. And I definitely take that for projects that I'm working on now and into the future.
Alice,
Excellent.
Elise,
Yeah,
right?
that's okay. Yes, Elise.
Elise,
Yeah. Yeah.
Elise, I wanted to ask you just to break away from a little bit of question answer and ask you a question.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
what was something, maybe a quote or a scene or something that you left with that made an impression on you in the movie?
Yeah, so I really did. I loved the silence. That was just such a impactful moment to me, just to have that everything kind of fall away. I loved that. I love anything unexpected that happens in a film that like amplifies it, and so that was one. But I really loved when they were talking about, and maybe this is a little spoilery, I guess, but I mean, I guess the whole story's real, so it's not that spoilery. But
Yeah,
when
yeah.
they're talking, when they're talking about the flowers for the wedding, I just really love that the paper flowers, and I think there's a written quote after it
Yeah.
where it's like the paper flowers go on forever, but they never lived, and I just think Oh, that's just a really powerful, powerful statement. And yeah, I mean, that was probably one of the moments that made me like, "Ooh, yeah." So, yeah, but it's a lovely, lovely film. Yeah.
Mahesh,
So,
what was Mahesh? I remember when we were
Yeah.
filming it, that was something that was really important to you. Do you remember we had a moment about that? What did you say?
Yeah, I mean, well, it is the sort of essence, I think, of the movie and the
right.
realization that Shalin has of, impermanence is something that gives life meaning. If we don't die, we don't live.
Yeah.
In some ways, and I think that was sort of the message of having the sort of real life flowers versus paper flowers. So yeah, and I think yeah, it is something that I think is sort of elemental to the movie and something that we talked a lot about, and I think in that scene, sort of is verbally said. So. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you both for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. It's a beautiful movie, and I wish you all the success with it.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Absolutely.